Check out my new channel Ambient Caliber for all kind of ambient and other music mixes. Perfect for an example studying, relaxation or meditation. Click the link in the video description to listen right away. And as always, Windows 10 and 11 retail keys are still $12.50 only. Check the link in the video description if you would like to purchase one. Skyrim VR in 2022 is absolutely amazing. It is, I would say, probably the best and most complete VR experience you can ever have. Of course, Half-Life Alyx was absolutely wonderful, but if you look back at it, it was more of a linear single-player game. Skyrim VR modded is the most complete and best VR experience you can ever have. It's so much more than just a game nowadays with all these fantastic mods. It's really becoming a second world to live in, to be in. Not just doing simply quests, dungeons. It's so much more than that. So yeah, maybe this video is somewhat of a love tribute to the game, but I really think people need to know how big the impact is. If you loved Skyrim, you know, always played the original Skyrim, Skyrim Special Edition or Anniversary Edition. Now you really have the chance to be in that world with VR. I know it sounds like the same slogan people used to say for 3D TV, like yeah, whatever, you know, save me the marketing crap. But VR is really something I do not really understand why it's not being, you know, pushed in the world, because it's really, really amazing. And for the ones who have or not really know what VR exactly is, maybe heard a couple of things. Instead of going in VR myself and explaining a little bit, I thought it would be better to show you this video from Valve. They did release with their first VR headset, the HTC Vive, if I'm not mistaken. Here you have a little bit of an idea what you will experience in VR. So you can like literally walk in your room, lay down on the floor, interact with the world, and it will mimic or copy, I should say, your movements with your hands, with your body, with your face, all the tracking in the world of Skyrim in this case. And yeah, for you, the world of Skyrim is projected all around you, which gives you really the feeling of being there. So it's absolutely not a gimmick like 3D TV. VR is something really so immersive that you are really in that world, and it is absolutely no gimmick. Please don't confuse it with anything like 3D TV. So I can understand you're asking what makes the difference now then in 2022 in comparison with the original Skyrim VR when it was released. Well, to start with, first we now have 3 wonderful Skyrim VR specific mods. First one is VRIK, which gives you a virtual avatar of your body, which means you can actually see your arms, your body, you know, if you're wearing armor and that kind of stuff, you really have the feeling you're having a body and not just some floating hands. The second is HIGGS, which is like hand control and really allows you to use your hands to interact with the world. Picking up stuff, but also just, you know, swiping and throwing things. Those kind of things really adds to the immersion and is very mandatory, I would say. And the last one, which has been released this year, is PLANCK, and that allows you to really interact with NPCs as well. You know, shake hands, tap NPCs on their shoulders, hug them. Anything you can imagine to do in the real world with NPCs, or people I should say, you can now do in Skyrim VR. And that's great, that makes a lot of difference. However, the original Skyrim VR is just vanilla Skyrim, so it has the ugly world which is not really immersive, and for that you really could use some graphic mods. So what's fantastic about Skyrim VR is that I would say 99% of the original Skyrim Special Edition, Anniversary Edition graphic mods work in Skyrim VR. So let's start with the thing which made the biggest impressions on me, that were NPCs. You probably know the big overalls we already had in original Skyrim and Special Edition, but wow, are they making such a huge difference in VR? The quality of the skin, the hair, and especially the eyes, it's something you never really think of when playing the original Skyrim and Special Edition. But now you can like grab an NPC like Vex here, which looks absolutely amazing, and you can really look into her eyes and almost see yourself being reflected, and it's almost like she has a soul, you know. It's so much different than the original Skyrim, the flat screen versions like Skyrim Special Edition. It really makes all the difference, and it's absolutely the wow factor when you see a fully modded NPC like that in good lighting conditions. It almost looks photorealistic. You're able to see all the details in the skin, all the little things on the armor, etc, etc. Also here with this Serana replacer I'm using, the Selena replacer, it's a little bit different than Seranaholic, which I've been using for years, but I thought I would give this a go because it's also a very high poly version, and also she looks absolutely fantastic. Also this outfit, you know, has all kind of details on the armor, which you normally don't really notice in the original world, but in VR, again, especially with good lighting conditions in a dungeon, an example by candlelight or whatever, it just looks really real, and you know, it's almost tempting every time when you are with an NPC to just grab her, an example, and look into her eyes, check out the skin, the quality of everything, all the little details makes just so much difference. So that are the NPCs, and also you can see the 3 mods I mentioned earlier, the VR specific mods, all working together really well. But then probably the biggest difference is just the world of Skyrim, and that means indoor, outdoor, you know, forests, shops, cities, all those kind of things. They all really benefit from high quality replacers, high quality texture replacers. And I have to say, every time I am in Skyrim VR, you know, if I'm even in a shop with the high quality 4K textures, there again you really see the difference. It makes actually all the difference in VR. You can really see the quality, the stones, you know, the ground covers, and especially also the outdoor mods for vegetation, for grass, for trees. It really makes it so immersive to be in that world, to walk around in that world. And yeah, it's sometimes, like I said earlier, you just want to stop, sit down, look at the night sky, and even while it doesn't look that special here on a flat screen monitor on a regular 2D video, in VR it really feels super real. An example, the big moon, it really feels also that there is a big moon there, the sky, the distance, everything feels as it should be regarding skill, and with all the quality overhauls, the very high quality overhauls I should say, it's really something unique and different. But also don't underestimate the high quality textures for regular items, like weapons in example. What's great about VR is you can pick a weapon, you know, with some mods you can holster them, like sheath, unsheath them, but also just inspect them, you know, look wherever you want, just pick them up, hold them in front of your face, check out the details, and you will see things that you never normally really didn't saw. An example on these swords, you know, and even these swords you can see these symbols. And that just really is so cool to be able to now finally see all those kind of details. Also here on the Thieves Guild armor, you know, you can also see all these symbols now really up close. And yeah, those are just things that you normally wouldn't be able to do in a regular modded version of Skyrim and Skyrim Special Edition. Also a cool example here in a dungeon, you know, you can just pick up these potions, check out the high quality textures, put them in your backpack if you want to loot them. But also here with this healing potion, I can just literally drink it, you know, to gain some HP. So the interaction with all these high quality items makes up really to the extra immersion you will have in game. And yeah, the ability that you're just able to pick up and interact with everything in Skyrim VR really adds to the immersion of this game. So when we're talking about an immersive world as well, you can't really escape the fact that you need to do a lot of dungeons and combat in Skyrim, of course. Same applies for Skyrim VR, and like I said earlier, everything works really well. Magic, archery, and melee combat. There is a thing I should really say up front, and that is combat, and especially things up close, is really scary and intense in VR. You just have to imagine that you're like really up close with a huge spider, and I can tell you that from experience is a super scary thing to do. So please keep that in mind if you're thinking about let's do a melee combat character. It is very, very intense in VR especially to be fully charged. An example by one of these skeevers who are coming from next to the room, hurt you and are charging at you. It is super scary and intense. So For that, I did actually create my first class I ever played with Skyrim, a stealth archer. It's a good thing in Skyrim because they are really strong, and you really want to take your, really want to have the upper hand, that you're able to see the danger coming and not being surprised by the danger, because combat, again, up close is very, very scary. That's a thing I should really give with you. If you're being ambushed by a big creature or even a stupid skeever charging you at full speed, is very, very intense. So, you know, if you're going to play Skyrim VR for the first time, I would recommend creating maybe a stealth character for that purpose. But after the combat, it is time to go back into the world of Skyrim to relax, to check out how immersive everything is. You know, walking in forests is fantastic to do in Skyrim VR with all these wonderful forest mods. Hopefully not being attacked by a wild creature, which danger is always, ahead if you're unlucky. And also to check out the night skies, checking out the moons and planets, those kind of things. It's just fantastic to do already in Skyrim VR, and that's not something you probably would do normally in the regular Skyrim and Skyrim Special Edition. But what I love to do the most is hang out with Serana. Serana is an NPC from the Dawnguard DLC, and by default she is already the most immersive NPC you can have with you, which really reacts and responds to you in the world already by default. But it's still a little bit limited. Also, you can't romance her. She is, once the Dawnguard DLC finishes, she is not that immersive, or she doesn't really care that much anymore, it seems, about all the stuff you're doing, because there are simply no dialogue add-on for that created by Bethesda. But there's this mod, Serana Dialogue Add-on, and that is a voice actress which pretty much did redo all of the voice lines from Serana from the original actress. And first of all, I was a little bit skeptic by that, I was afraid there were going to be like cringy jokes and those kind of things, but it's been done very well, exceptionally well, and it is actually what I saw the second most downloaded and endorsed mod on the Skyrim Nexus. And for the first time, you really have someone with you in Skyrim which really is interacting with you, really cares about what you're doing, about your life in Skyrim. Pretty much all big quests, she has something to say about it, but not intrusive, really naturally. And what's also pretty cool, as you can see here, sometimes you can just hang out with her in a tavern, and just grab a drink like I had here, and she's going to tell, or at least, you're going to have a conversation with her. And what's cool about VR is you really somewhat have a feeling that you're in this tavern. People are watching at you, and it's like very busy and crowded, like you would be in a real bar, and that's so well done with Serana Dialogue Add-on. And the first thing you want to do is get to the Dawnguard area for DLC. Make sure you finish that and that you have Serana at your side with the Serana Dialogue Add-on, because that really makes all the world of difference, especially in VR, where you finally have someone with you, really cares about the world, and where you can do things with, like here, like I said, having a conversation and a drink in a tavern. She sometimes asks to do things, so, shall we hang out there and there? And like I said, and all major quests and all the bigger quests and all stuff, she has something to say, but not intrusive again. And it's just really, really recommended to have this mod installed with a beautiful Serana overall, like Seranaholic, or the one, the Selena overall I am using. Because, it's... else you normally in Skyrim you always felt really alone, even if you had a follower, they really haven't something to say to you. But this one, Serana with the Serana Dialogue Add-on, is the cherry on top of the cake when it comes to immersion for Skyrim VR. So I would say, check out the Modlist I have. I currently have a beta for a Wabbajack Modlist for Skyrim VR, where you can have the same graphics and stuff I'm having. It's currently in beta. You can read also the FAQ on that, so check out the link in the video description for that. And for the rest, I could say really check out Skyrim VR because it's fantastic. I'm currently using an Oculus Quest 2, and even with the price increase, it just works so fine with the controllers, the inside-out tracking. You don't need to set up any base stations anymore. It's just plugging in either a link cable and you're good to go, or if you have a really good Wi-Fi router, or Wi-Fi 6 if I'm not mistaken, you can also just play it wirelessly, which is even more insane. And yeah, for that, again, like I started with the video, I don't really understand why there is not much attention being given to this Skyrim VR version with mods, you know. Only downside is, I keep saying that, you really need a very, very good computer. And with that, I really recommend an RTX 2080 Ti or higher, or an RTX 3070 or something. That's the only big downside. But if you have a very good gaming PC, I would say check out, maybe, you know, get a cheaper Oculus Rift as an example, which is also fine. And you are really getting into a new world of Skyrim. Really, really insane. And again, with that, I would love to end this love video for Skyrim VR.